Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Pod. We have Allie Egan with us. She is founder and CEO at Veracity. She's a former CEO at Cynthia Rowley, and she's a Forbes 1000 honoree. Studied at Harvard Business School, top 5% of her class. So that's quite impressive. This pod is brought to you by podpartner.com if you want to start or scale your own podcast. Allie, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, hi Charles. Thanks for having me. So I'm Allie. I'm the founder and CEO of Veracity, and we are a root cause-based functional wellness brand. And we try to bring this root cause-based approach to the way people take care of themselves every day. And our big breakthrough product is all natural Ozempic supplement that's backed in 7 clinical trials. It's really been taking off for us. So it's been exciting times.
So what's brought you from corporate to then CEO to then founder of your own business?
Sure. So long story short, I guess, well, I started my career as an investor, so it's even more than corporate, but I was an investor just working with our companies, and I just had this realization is that this is what actually adds value to the ecosystem, is actually building these things and doing the hard stuff that, no offense, but investors take a lot of credit for. So at that point, I knew I wanted to be an operator. I went to Harvard Business School to sort of make that, get some actual experience and get those chops. And then I worked at corporate at Estee Lauder. But I very much like to be held accountable to results and strategies and, things that I implement versus, at a big corporation, that's not really possible. So that's what led me to Cynthia Rowley. And then what led me to start Veracity was a quite personal journey. So super long story short, when I was in business school, I started breaking out into eczema all over my face. Saw a doctor who essentially dismissed me, said, "Oh, you're just using something that's irritating your skin." Dealt with that issue for years. Turns out that it was the first symptom of my Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disorder. And I only learned this when I was at my lowest point in my life, going through infertility, and was in an infertility clinic getting my hormones tested. Even then, I was just given a prescription drug, started on IVF. I went through 2 more years of infertility. And really the only thing that changed the outcome of my life, quite frankly, was meeting a functional medicine doctor and getting under her care, actually understanding and treating the root cause. And, now I have 2 children, never had this eczema issue again, and I've reversed my Hashimoto. So the whole idea behind Veracity is, how do we bring this root cause functional health approach, not just to diseases and people dealing with big issues, whether it's PCOS or menopause or, Lyme disease or whatever. But how do we bring this to people who are just trying to solve aesthetic issues and the problems that are top of hand for them today? So that's a bit about how I got here.
How did you get through that tough period of your life psychologically wise?
It was really tough. And it's one of those things where looking back, it seems like a blur and you don't know how you actually got out of it, because it was quite a low point where, you have this sort of thing that you think is a given. If you want to be a parent, you can be a parent. And yet I was a CEO at this time. I had a million obligations. Like, one of my most memorable times is being called out of a meeting by my doctor because I had an ectopic pregnancy and I had to leave and go. I live in New York, go uptown and get a procedure done to eliminate this. And it was very depressing, quite frankly. But I think that what you have to do is sort of is just focus on getting through the next minute and getting through the next day. And these dark clouds that a lot of us deal with, whether it's personal or business, will dissipate, but having that resilience to endure.
And tell me about that CEO position at Cynthia Rowley. That seems like a home run. I mean, you were at Estee Lauder, which is pretty big. How did that feel to, be CEO of that company that early, quote unquote, in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was 32 or around there when I became CEO, so very early. And it was my dream on paper. It was my dream. But I think as the older you grow, the more you sort of come to this realization that, your dream on paper is not always giving you your heart's joy and contentment. But it was really great. I mean, we did some really cool things. I launched their entire direct business. We turned that really revived the brand, doubled the business in 2 years. But I felt this disconnect because I wasn't a founder. I worked directly with our designer founder, who had built the business from nothing, and I admired her. But I wasn't in the owner's lane, even though we were a huge company, and we were, I felt like a lot of equity and ownership over that. It's still different, and some good and some bad. Now, having been a founder, I realized even more of what she was going through, where so much of your business is so personal, and there's literally no way to separate those two. And there's both good things and bad things that come with that responsibility or opportunity.
Now tell me about Veracity and precisely about the recent Ozempic trend and how you're getting into this.
Yeah, sure. So I love talking about this because for us, it's not a trend. So we started our business with our focus being root cause and helping people find their personal root cause. So our initial big go-to-market was with our at-home hormone test. So think of this as like a functional medicine light experience, 23andMe for functional hormonal health. From that, we have been talking directly with clients, getting data on them, understanding their problems and their symptoms, not just across things we were providing today, but what they really needed and wanted. And so had identified in 2022, early on when we started the company, that weight health was a huge issue for almost everyone, no matter what they had been coming to Veracity for in the first place. And so when I founded the company, we have a 9-person medical team, but at the time was 6. And through our relationships with our physicians, we're able to partner with a researcher who's been studying plant polyphenols and their potential impact on metabolic health for now 10 years, but at the time 7 years. And that's where the sort of research and development went into this product that is now Metabolism Ignite. So, definitely a labor of really understanding people over time. And now we're really, excited because I think weight loss has always been a huge market and opportunity, but it is particularly catapulted by the conversation around GLP-1 drugs, and the fact that weight loss is no longer a taboo thing to talk about actively wanting to lose weight. And I think that's great because it actually means at least some of us are going to, be more metabolically healthy, which is obviously ultimately the goal.
Tell me about the hormone test and what was or what is available nowadays, because I don't see these often on the market.
Hormone tests, yeah. So our hormone test is pretty much the first and only that makes it really easy and actionable to understand your hormone health. So it is not a blood test. You don't have to go to LabCorp. It's $199 and it's a saliva test. So you spit in a tube, you mail it back. You get your 5 key hormone readings: estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, cortisol, and DHEA. So you really get a broad picture of your hormonal health. And then you get a personalized action plan on what you can do about it to rebalance anything that may be out of balance. So that's what you should be eating or not eating, how you can be sleeping better, exercising, et cetera. And you actually also get to meet with one of our integrative nutritionists. So what we find for our business now is it is really when people come to us for something like weight loss, have an immediate need, want to have something that works, but is, consistent with their health and longevity, and, more natural and safe. They get a product, it starts producing results. They learn more about veracity and functional health, and they really want to take it to the next level, and they take this hormone test and then kind of get those real personalized insights.
Your supplements, I really like their composition. My first business a decade ago was a nootropic. How do you prove the scientific efficacy of each?
So for the large majority of our supplements, we have original clinical trials, and then others we have clinical trials of ingredients that have been used throughout functional health for decades or centuries. But yeah, and all of our supplements are medical grade, so that we're actually using and studying the clinical validation of the percent. Because I think what's dirty in the supplement world is not only contamination stuff, but that's honestly more a smaller part, in my opinion. Where I think is more concerning for customers, for people taking these things, is there's a lot of companies claiming benefits of, say, ashwagandha, but they're putting nowhere near the amount of ashwagandha that has been studied to produce the benefits that it has.
The clinical trials that you conduct, how do you make sure that they don't break the bank? I saw that you raised 5 million, but these clinical trials can be quite costly. How do you manage to do it without breaking the bank?
Yeah, so I mean that's the tough part. I think as a business that is still young like ours, is you have to start somewhere and then continue to expand. So do I want even more clinical trials and longer ones, and measuring a bunch of different things? Like for our Metabolism Ignite product, I want to do a full year clinical trial. I want to not only measure actual weight, I want to measure waist circumference, like to just give people all of the data, right? Here's what's actually happening. But I have to also have some restraint and realize that, we don't have an endless bank. And so what we're really focusing on is, what do people care about? They care about clinical trials only because it is more validated proof that it works. So for our strategy, in that it's not only looking at clinicals, but it's looking at how else can we tangibly prove to people that our supplements work and that they are different and efficacious. And that's through great client data, testimonials, referral, and doing lots of deep dives with our doctors, just giving people real honest look under the hood in lots of different ways.
How do you go upon setting the roadmap in terms of the new products, and how do you make sure that these new products that you launch are not cannibalizing the sales of the past products?
Yeah, so that has changed for us, quite frankly, because when we started with when started the company, our hormone test was that was actually the acquisition product. So it was first, let me find your root cause, then let me give you the products that, the supplements that are going to help rebalance your hormones. As we have had such success with Metabolism Ignite, and seen that the economic model of the company makes more sense in having the acquisition product actually be a supplement or a physical product, and then upselling to the test as our service, that has changed. And so our strategy really now is, we want to become the leader in weight health and the go-to trusted brand around that, and have a maniacal focus around that, with this underlying foundation of, we understand hormones and functional health. And so in the future, we may sort of do other big things that outside of weight health. But the sort of tangential product development and product portfolio will really be around launching products that help someone be more successful on Metabolism Ignite. So we're not really worried about the cannibalization from that end.
Right. If I would relaunch a supplement business, I think I would offer all my clients a GPT, a chat to which they could tell how they feel if they take the product. I would use these data for not clinical studies, but studies, informal studies. Plus, I think it would give them advice. If you feel like this, if you feel nauseous, then take more water, for example. If you feel great at this time of the day, then amazing. What do you think about that idea?
I love that idea, and we're kind of doing a version of that. So what we have, we call all of our customers clients, and have this very like, how do we serve them as clients versus customers? And so when someone buys Metabolism Ignite today, they get a text from Sonali, who's our lead integrative nutritionist, telling them what to expect with Metabolism Ignite. They can fill out an intake form where they tell us their current weight, their goals, lifestyle choices they're making today, etc. So we can help personalize that journey for them and give them the right information that's going to help them be successful. And then we do check-ins with them at different intervals to collect more data. How much weight have you lost? How are you feeling? What are the other benefits? Do you have any side effects? And then exactly that, being able to use that data first and foremost to, help that person, but then secondarily to, be able to kind of share those learnings with the rest of our potential market.
It's funny because I'm reading your LinkedIn and I was like, this website, it looks like Goop, when are they gonna partner with them? And apparently you did 11 months ago.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
So how did you get a partnership with Goop?
Um, oh goodness, I'm trying to rack my brain. I think there's a lot of alignment, obviously, from what we do and what we stand for. But I've been in this sort of general beauty, health, and wellness industry for a while, so have known some people there. Actually, we had a beauty editor at Goop come to a couple of events we had when I was at Cynthia Rally, and then you kind of build and maintain these relationships. So I think that was the initial sort of contact point, and then sort of built from there.
What lessons did you take from Goop? It seems like one of the most successful female CPG or brand of all times. Like, how did Gwyneth made it so successful?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is they do focus a lot on content that is just useful, right? And they have a whole different business model where they have a whole, it's like a media company plus a product company. So and they have built. But first and foremost, Gwyneth talked about things in a very truthful way, that sort of, and veracity, by the way, means truth and commitment to truth. So it's the veracity with which you speak to your potential audience that, whether you're a celebrity or you're just a normal person like myself, I think matters. But then they're smart too in how they constructed their business model, because that fun content that actually helps people doesn't always have the exact ROI that, a sales driven blog has. But from what I understand, they very much construct it so they can sort of make money off the content side of their business, as well as the product side of their business.
About a year or more ago, you witnessed and felt the SVB bank scandal. So what happened there, and what was your mindset when this happened?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I was actually speaking at South by Southwest when that whole thing went down. And well, actually, I'd been in LA that Thursday, Friday before. And my lead investor at the time was going back and forth. And I was in an Uber on a way to a meeting with an editor. And they told me, you got to withdraw all your money. And I'm like, this is insane. And by the way, even though Silicon Valley Bank has that name, they also had literally the worst banking technology platform ever. So couldn't do it on my phone. I'm in the back of an Uber trying to wire like millions of dollars like to another account, like it was, which didn't work. And it kind of, that whole experience led to two things. One, it helps show colors a little bit, where I felt kind of blamed as a CEO for not getting my money out, where I was like, how is this my responsibility? Like, I am a startup founder. I'm supposed to be the visionary, building a team, executing excellent product. Like, I'm not supposed to be a treasurer or money manager of where this stuff sits. Anyway, so that was a very frustrating part from, I think, the venture community not really supporting founders. And then, personally as a founder, it was both scary of that everything I could worked so freaking hard to raise, to build, could have been taken out in a flash of an eye. But then you just sort of have to step back and say, if I lose this company because one of a well-established bank failed, then something else must be in the stars and it must not be in the cards for me. And thankfully, it all worked out, but it was pretty crazy times.
So a lot of cortisol calming supplement that day.
100% for weeks on end after.
Right. What do you do when like shit hits the fan like that afterwards? Like, do you have a meditation routine? Do you have a fitness routine to keep your calm as a founder and CEO?
I'm a huge runner, so I really start out my day. I mean, I wake up before 5 a.m. most days, and uh, the first thing I do is I sort of write on a post-it note the things I have to get done that day, and it just sort of keeps me, because your to-do list is always endless. Like, what do you actually have to get done today? And then I do take time for running and physical activity, because I think when you let your mind wander, when you're not sitting in front of a computer or on a phone or whatever, is when you can have that sort of mental restoration and clarity that you need to function properly.
Seems that also nowadays, there's not only female hormonal disruption, there's also male hormone disruption. It seems that testosterone levels are falling. Any thoughts
Yes.
on this and any plans on attacking that problem eventually?
Yes, 100%. I mean, a lot of it is because of the large amount of endocrine disrupting chemicals that we have in our environment, that affect females and males in different ways, and it's really scary. The New York Times actually just showed a piece on one major endocrine disruptor, PFAS, which you should check out if you haven't. But these things are really pervasive and have a measurable impact on our health. But we do know that every little bit counts. And so, that is what Veracity is about, is helping sort of build back those things using products that have been proven to have no endocrine disruptors in our formulas and our packaging, and helping educate on what that lifestyle is. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of, offer things to a lot of, these, again, functional hormonal health issues. And male testosterone is definitely one of them. But we do have a great supplement that people can take today. It's our DHEA, or it's called Longevity Revives, which is a natural DHEA, and that's the precursor to testosterone, which can help.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for today, Ali. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, check us out, veracityselfcare.com, or on Instagram and TikTok.